Andre, can you see if you can hear anything? And is it too bright?
Yeah, here, I'm gonna check my phone.
Yeah. And is it too bright?
Let me check my phone.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm live right now. You know what I mean, Gene? The lighting is always bad. To me, I don't even see anything. Uh, let's see if I can. Might have to turn off the light or something. Yeah, maybe.
Now it's good.
The lighting's good. Okay. Huh?
Yep.
All right. What is the title of this video? I'm getting so sick with this. The date is April 17th of 2026. Yeah. Okay, so what am I getting sick with? Well, my landlord came by again with her son's wife. Is that you watching? Or did you turn off your phone or are you still watching?
I'm still watching.
So, talking to myself again on YouTube. What's new, pussycat? Doesn't matter what time of day you decide to do a live stream, it's always the same when you're shadow banned. Yeah, I think so. Because I do them at 1 in the morning, 4 in the morning. It's 5 o'clock p.m. right now. I've done them at 2. It's always the same stupid crap. But besides that point, I'm just going to put it out there because my life is a toy. You know how when you have a cat that has an injured mouse and it just plays with the mouse and tortures it by tossing it around and clawing it and biting into it and whacking it and and then the mouse will get a chance to run away and the cat pounces on it and keeps it on, you know, and it just tortures it for like hours until finally the poor thing just dies. Well, that's me. And they keep using the damn yard, saying that they're trying to be proactive before the city shows up again. Okay. Well, Mrs. Gill is still saying, get rid of this, get rid of that. I don't like that planter pot. I don't like that. And I'm like, you open it up too much, the weeds are just going to take over. And then it becomes extreme yard maintenance compared to quote unquote routine yard maintenance. There's a difference between routine yard maintenance and extreme yard maintenance. If you wanted flat grass throughout the whole yard, then you should have had it before the tenant moved in, quote unquote, 15 years ago. Instead of half a yard full of landfill, 4 inches of gravel rocks, and 4 inches of freaking sand. With Morning Glory going through it with every cat in the neighborhood using it as a litter box. That is not flat grass. I don't know what that was. But for whatever reason, Mrs. Gill likes sand. Because, at one point in the past, she said, "Oh, yeah, get rid of it all. I like sand." Yeah, easy for you to say. Easy for you to say. Let that blow in your house. Go and take a, what is that called? You know those cat scooper things? When you have a litter box and they have those little scoopers with the holes in them so you can shake out the litter and have clumps of poo. Is that what I was supposed to do in the front yard there for half a freaking yard? Go out with a cat scooper and scoop out raccoon poo and cat poo and pull out the morning glories as I'm stepping on cat poo, right? Or should I just move because I didn't like it? After I was told, taking it now, we'll never raise the rent, stay as long as you want. But you got to take it right now because we can't guarantee that the house will be here when you get back if you decide you want it after looking at another house. But it was in the dark, so I never did get a chance to see what the outside looked like because everything was dark and it was in November. Morning glory doesn't grow in November. And you're sure in the hell not going to be walking around outside to see if there's grass out there compared to landfill and freaking sand and all the other shit that comes with whatever came in with this yard. Weeds. Okay. So clearly I'm still griping about the same stupid shit, which is making me sicker and sicker and sicker to the point where if I die, people, from this stress that is nonstop, and like, I'm not stupid. Okay? You can, how do they say that? Fool me once, fool me twice, but after that, you can't fool me no more. Right? I've been hoodwinked so many times, used and abused for somebody else to profiteer off of my quote unquote free labor to correct the wrongs of a yard that required landscaping services before I even moved in versus me doing a solo for years and years and years and years with the whip on my back. Landscaping services that ultimately broke my back, made me sick, contributed to me being blind, took away tons of opportunities when it related to the foundation, sewing, being a grandmother to my grandkids, being a more nurturing, quote unquote, mother to my own children, being that I had no time because I was always out in the yard for one reason or another because of all the problems that were out there. And that's why I'm typing this shit out, going back into my videos, documenting what the yard actually looked like, what it was about, how I was treated as I was basically extorted to work out there. Because if I didn't, then I was such a problem that it warranted evicting my family. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the agenda was to use the yard against me, to evict me one way or another, sooner or later, preferably sooner, but it seems to be later, where they can double the rent. Knowing that the corruption within the housing market in the province of British Columbia, Canada, was going to allow that to happen because of how they Jimmy the house sales, whether it's on a national level or whether they bring it down to a local level. And because this house is close, quote unquote, to a SkyTrain that ups the value of the property for these $3 clip condos that are going to be the next generations of slums in the next 10 years from now, because the clips are going to start springing and the water's going to start spraying and saturating the Presto wood that they used to build with these condos with now, because they're not using real plywood in each and every situation when they slap them together like prefab buildings and then call it, what is it called? Builder grade quality products. Yeah, right, whatever. Somebody needs to step up to the plate and start holding these companies to account before they liquidate and sell off their assets and disappear into the abyss with the money that they robbed from the people selling them inferior products when it comes to condos, townhouses, and houses over the last 10 years, because it's just a quick money grab for them and they know it. Well, our federal government allows it to happen because they're in bed with a so-called minority, which is not a minority, it's a majority that operates like an occult or a separatist group that's trying to take over freaking Canada. If it's not the CCP, Communist Chinese Party. With the Muslims banging on the door saying, let us in, we want our fair share. Canada's ripe for the picking. Anyway, my landlady came by with her son's wife, who is a realtor. So she's up on her game. Might even be watching this video. And that's fine by me. Okay? Because this shit's making me sick. And I'm already not well. And my plate is already full. And I've been through this so many times already that it's beyond reasonable. All right. They want my son, or Andre. I said, well, Andre can't do it. I'm not even allowing Andre to do it. To dismantle those stairs that are broken, that have been out there since, I'm pretty sure it was June of last year. So they've been out there for at least 10 months. And maybe May. It could have been July. They've been out there for either 11 months or 9 months. So we'll put it in June. Okay? They've been broken and they haven't moved. All right. They keep using the insurance, the new company, as an excuse, in my opinion, to say, well, in my opinion, to harass me. Because I feel extremely harassed and targeted and gang stalked. Okay? And that's just a fact. Because they were successful at evicting my son by using the city's sewage as a means to get everything out outside of what still belongs to me. Right? He couldn't have put it in the garage. It wouldn't have been safe for the workers to do what they did. He was evicted on a 1-day notice. Get everything out so the guys can come in and do restoration. Okay, whatever. He left. I'm left cleaning up after mice. That's it. It's making me ill just thinking about it. Wait till I show you Auntie Shemai's room. And I'm glad I did buckets with gamma lids and jars and all this other crap. Because, oh my God, it's just awful. And of course they got into everywhere else, right? And so anyway, I already got a full plate because I'm having to wipe things down and, like reorganize or whatever, because, okay, so, but they keep coming around over this yard. They want Andre or Marcaine to take down the stairs, even though Mrs. Gill's workers, the quote unquote plumbers, were here that put up this piece of wood so that I guess nobody can fall over. It's just been sitting like that for 10 months, so nobody fell over yet. But for the insurance guy, they need to make sure that nobody's going to fall over. So they put that there, right? And I said, well, what about the stairs? Oh, yeah, we'll come back in the summertime and we'll do the stairs. Blah. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll believe it when I see it in my head, right? So, because Mrs. Gill already said she ain't going to do it, but whatever. So they come, they say that wood needs to be moved, get Marcaine to do it or get Andre to do it. I said, well, I can't have Andre do it because they're unstable. And, it's just Marcaine's bigger, stronger, more coordinated for that kind of stuff. But I can't guarantee, well, he has to come tomorrow. And I'm like, well, I can't guarantee that because I don't know what his schedule is, blah, 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 and then because they wanted stuff and get rid of the stroller, that red stroller. And I'm like, what the fuck is it with this stroller, man? I need that stroller for Amari. I'm not going to take out his new stroller, which cost $8,000 between what the government paid and the Variety Club topped off. T-shirt said it's like an $8,000 stroller. I'm not wheeling it all the way around. None of that crap. No. I've got this little red one. It's big enough for him that it's comfortable enough for him to sit in it, right? But the thing is, it doesn't fold up. That's the problem. And I can't have it in the garage because it becomes a heat score. Remember, you can't have hardly anything in the garage because they're trying to make the place look like, I don't know what, outside of they want to present an image so that they, when they want to put their sign up to say for a house for sale, right? 3.5 million, get their 3 million, whatever. So you can't own even an old stroller, even though you need it, right? And if you do, you got to hide it. You got to hide it like a dirty damn secret. Marcaine has some wood out there. When he got evicted, because that's what happened. Okay. It's up for debate. You want to debate it? I have no problem. I will debate it in a court of law. Okay. Because they're using, Mrs. Gill gave, quote unquote, the house. She just gave the house, just gave it to him, to her mean son's son. Now remember, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I thought she gave it to her, quote unquote, mean son. But it's the son to the mean son. And apparently he's never been here. So if the city gets called on me, right? There's being held hostage to this shit again. Because I happen to have a red stroller out in the back up by the hen house area with some pieces to a bed that when my son had to move, he dismantled the bed and he left them behind, thinking that maybe I might want to use them for they're like drawers or something. I don't know. And they're just there, right? And Andre wants to make some things with wood. So what do you call it? He has to take them apart, right? I mean, why do I want to go to Home Depot and spend $100 on wood when there's already something for him to work with? It just is, the thing is, I haven't had any time, people, to do that yet because I'm working downstairs cleaning up after mice. I'm having to wash everything. I had bins of this and bins of that. I have to wash everything. Not to mention my jars and everything. And because my son took freaking some of my shelving units, I'm short on shelving units. But before I can do even shelving units and oh my God, you don't even know, man. And it's not fair. But no, they got me out in the yard, freaking scraping at this and scraping that, and because the weeds are coming. Move this, move that. Get rid of this, get rid of that. Yeah, well, geez, now you want us to get rid of broken fucking stairs, and why? Your plumbers were here not even 3-4 days ago. Why didn't they take it? Why does Marcane have to do it? Oh, we'll just bring in a bin. Why, Mrs. Gill? What, to open up the yard so it turns into a big dust bucket? Like, this shit's not funny, people. Okay? Fool me once, fool me twice, but you're not gonna fool me 3 fucking times and kill me while you do it. And I'm not gonna pay for it. Before I fucking pay for anything stupid out in this stupid yard, I will take it to court. You want a dust bucket? You pay for your guys to turn it into a fucking dust bucket. And when the weeds start to grow like crazy, because there's nothing to stop them, then you have your guys come in and freaking do the, what is that called? Routine weed maintenance. Yeah. Don't expect me to pay for that shit. Hell no. You can't come back 15 years later crying on about this and crying on about that when you never not once ever lifted a damn finger to help me with nothing in this stupid yard. I begged for 2 years for fucking help. With the fence, with the junk that was out there, which were her beams from her garage and whatever else Marcane was tossing out. And instead of helping then, in a 2-year period, they just showed up out of nowhere, had the city say get rid of everything. Well, Mrs. Gill was I wouldn't even call her the freaking overseer, more like the master. Yes, a master. Yes, a master. Wiped me out of $8,000 worth of my personal belongings. Yeah. Freaking surgers, $1,500 surgers that were in the garage that my son just threw out into a freaking bin so all the people in the neighborhood could go climbing in there and rob the bin of my belongings. And then when the bin was dropped off at wherever it was freaking dropped off, I got charged for water in empty bags that were robbed from the community. That would make you sick. And then have them tell you have to pay $2,150. Well, $1,900. I already paid $250 for a fine in the middle of freaking winter. Yeah, okay. And then $1,900 for empty bags that were robbed of belongings. Don't tell me that $8,000 wasn't taken out of this yard, whether it came from the freaking garage, from the freaking shed, from this, from that, all my big, large play equipment, okay? They weren't thrown in no garbage bin after the fact. Somebody else got them. One man's junk is another man's treasure. All my wood, weather-worn wood that I don't have anymore. And she wants me to throw out more planter pots. I said, I'm not, they're talking about the pond area in the front. I said, okay, I'm not putting in no pond. Clearly, I can't see now. But I'm going to turn it into a herb garden. Because they want me to get rid of the planter pots over there beside the freaking other shed. Get rid of the planter plants. Why? Nobody can see them. What's the issue? But it's okay. I already got that base covered. I was thinking about it today. I'm going to move my freaking, what is that called? Comfrey planter pot into the pond area. And I'm going to move the other planter pots in there. I'm going to turn it into a flower and a herb garden. And for what? To be told that I'm not allowed to do that? Because it's not flat grass? It never was flat grass. It was always sand. Could you imagine me living in this house for 15 years with a sand pit in the front of my yard? Half of my yard, a sand pit for 15 freaking years? At least you can walk on something and not fucking get sand in your shoes. Walk on cat shit. Like, whatever. It's stupid, man. Picking on me over a stroller. I have to hide Amari's stroller like a dirty damn secret. Well, she's got Mrs. Gilt's making sure she's showing up tomorrow. So get rid of this and get rid of that and bust up this and bust up that. Listen, this social worker that's around right now knows me from 5 years ago. Okay? She knows what the hell is going on. You know, she offered to have a social worker help me to navigate with the Landlords and Tenancy Act branch or something. I said, oh, I don't know. I have to phone them first. You know, I got to, whatever. I'll think about it. Anyway, I mentioned to her, because I just did the disability thing, right? She wrote a letter around that, right? I mentioned to her, you know, I'm actually seriously considering having you assign this. It's a different kind of social worker that can help me to navigate with the Landlords and Tenancy Act branch around this issue, people, because it's stupid. Like, my son is not obligated to take down those damn stairs. And don't ask a 15-year-old to do it, because that's not practical. And you guys were here just 4 days ago. Why didn't they take them? Because you got an ulterior motive. That's why you want to start taking this down, taking that down. And for what? A mud pit. A mud pit. And then say, it's my fault if the city should show up if I don't do it. Oh, okay. But you want your tenant to deal with weeds that grow 4 feet high, and just weeds and morning glory and raccoons running through it and shitting here and under the weeds and shitting over there under the weed. You can't take a lawnmower to weeds. We tried that. The first year we moved in, my son went out in the back with the lawnmower that they left behind, which was kind of broken, but it still worked. And he couldn't mow it. It was impossible. So what did I do? I did what I thought was best. And if they didn't like it, they should have said something then. Don't come to me 5 years, 15 years later and say, well, we don't like Mr. Lace's cat house. Well, I do. Because after I gut it, Andre puts the little vinyl siding on it. We rat-proof it. We raccoon-proof it. Fix the door. I'm going to put those chairs in there. And maybe a few other little things. Okay? So that the chairs aren't in the yard. So you can use chairs against me. Because I'm supposed to get rid of everything. I have to hide the chairs. Amari's stroller I'm going to put in the hen house area. After Marcane's pieces of bed frame or whatever they are, drawers, are out of the way. It's just Andre wants the parts from it. But he doesn't even get a chance to take the parts. He doesn't even get a chance to take it apart. Because you have to remember, people, I'm working every day. I'm doing something. And when I'm working, whether I'm downstairs, outside, in the kitchen, down the hall, Andre is with Amari. And if it's not that, I'm sleeping. Because I'm working too hard. Going around in circles, getting blinder and blinder, shaking from fear. Oh, well, we don't want my son to come here, because if he does, oh, that's it. Game over for you, Judy, because he ain't going to put up with it. If that's not a fucking threat, I don't know what is. But she said it in a nice kind of way to warn me, right? So that I will be more, I guess, submissive to whatever it is Mrs. Gill says get rid of. To be proactive. Yeah, well, I'm expected to pay for the disposal of whatever it is that's left out there, including Amari's stroller. Oh. What's wrong with him? Well, you know what's wrong with him. He has severe cerebral palsy. Can he walk? No. He can't walk. He can't feed himself. He can't change himself. He can't really move himself outside of flipping himself and doing that. But you got to watch where he moves to, because he could seriously injure himself, smother himself, hurt himself, kill himself. So you got to be with him 24/7. That's why I need the basement to set it up down there to see if I can try a different sleeping method between Amari, myself, and Andre versus the way we've been doing it, because Amari's getting too big, right? Can't use really the bedrooms because nobody would be in them. We can't leave Amari in the bedroom by himself. That's danger. And ain't nobody going to go in there and try and get him to fall asleep when he doesn't want to sleep, especially when he doesn't even want to sleep that much. That kid can go for 16 hours straight if he wants to. Have a little cat nap in between a 16-hour period. I fall asleep at 10 o'clock, 9, 7 o'clock, anywhere between 7, depending on what time I get up, in the 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Finally, I'll lay down at some point, maybe at 7 o'clock at night after being up from 2 o'clock in the freaking morning. That's an all-day shift on my feet, doing whatever. I lay down and I get up at 2 in the morning, or I lay down at 9 or 10 and I wake up at 2, 3, and they're both up. Mine bouncing around. I'm going to sleep. Or if he's sleeping, he wakes up at 4 in the morning and Andre's sleeping. But I'm up, washing dishes, doing laundry, doing this, doing that. And then I have to find time to go downstairs and deal with that crap. And now it's the yard, the whip on my back. Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid with the subliminal messaging. Oh, well, if my son, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, the lawyer one, okay. Well, I'm not afraid of fucking lawyers. I don't give a shit about. I was dealing with the Attorney General's lawyer. Don't forget about Andrew the Dragon, who worked for Fraser Health Authority. And then there was that freaking lawyer from CIBC Bank. That 3 freaking lawyers, all 3 were corrupt. All of them. Had no decency about them, didn't stand for nothing other than to cover up freaking crime. Because that's what they get paid for. Right? Save the government money so that it can continue going around endorsing and condoning illegal organ harvesting to keep the Punjabis fucking happy. Yeah, because they got so much money and they practically own the government through their voting block. And for some reason, they have the right to go around. I don't know, people. Like, this is, I said to Andre, if I die from this stress, when they come knocking on the door, he has my permission to tell them that Nana died because of you guys harassing her for so many years. In part. Yeah. The stress killed her too much. It's just too much. I can't stand it. I can't fucking stand it. I'm thinking about planting a herb garden while Mrs. Gill is ragging on me over getting rid of freaking planter pots. I'm sorry I don't have the energy to be out there 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, month after month after month after month, to keep your yard pristine, even though it was a freaking weed pit when I moved in and a freaking, I don't know what you want to call a sand pit in the front when it's a half a yard, not to mention what the backyard was like with its freaking landfill and drainage problem. Right? And you want to still use the yard against me? Yeah, okay. Run me ragged? Scare me? And be nice about it as you scare me? With, well, you don't want to deal with my son. Nope. Yeah, okay. Well, Bring it on. Bring it on. Put my hands in handcuffed and haul my ass out of here. I told him, I need to know what it's like downstairs with them to see if it even works. Because this, whatever's going on with me, could be a blink in 3 weeks or 6 months or a year or who knows how long. Because the stress and the overworking is agitating it, and that is the bottom freaking line. So if that's the case, I've asked my son to move upstairs so he can, quote unquote, liquidate the house and get rid of everything, being that I'm not allowed to own anything, including a freaking stroller, because it's red and it doesn't look good in a quote unquote picture. So you can up the ante on the property value so that you can convince people that if they pay $3 million for this quote unquote, I want to say dump, because they're going to tear it down anyway. They don't even value the house, for crying out loud. They don't. It's just a selling point to make $3 million so they can bring in their $3 clips with their new and approved next generations of slums. And they're not even like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Didn't Alibaba with the 40 Thieves steal from the rich to give to the poor? Or was that Robin Hood? No, these guys steal from the poor so that they can become rich. And that's why they use $3 clips that bing, and then make the homeowner have to pay $20,000 to do the restoration repairs because of water damage after those clips release themselves after anywhere from 2 years and on, because there's only a 2-year warranty on them. And they don't start snapping until 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And then after that, it's good luck catching up to them. You won't never find them, because they will close down their company and start a new company with a whole bunch of numbers with no names. Good luck figuring out who owns the company when it's just a string of numbers. The government, the provincial government, actually made that illegal for them to do that. But when they were starting up this crap over here, before they busted up the duplex, the company that was running that place, which is probably still running it, was listed with numbers. Because I remember I went to City Hall and there was people there that pointed it out to me, that they're not supposed to be registering as a company as a bunch of numbers, because that's how they get away from being held to account for the crap shit that they do. No, they probably already passed the buck. I'd be surprised if it's the same damn numbers registering on what I've got here when they first started with this crap. Every day it's beep, 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 grind, 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 boom, boom, boom. Right? Every day. On Saturdays and Sundays, these guys are over there. Like, you think Saturday and Sunday they'd be quiet. No, not on the corner. Hell no. They're out there banging and grinding and booming and got their little beep, beep, beep starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? It just goes on, and they work until dark. They don't care. The landlord doesn't care about that. It turns you into, it makes you tired. Yeah. Wakes up Murray all the time. Wakes up Andre. Yeah. I'm just mad, people, because this shit's making me sick. Like, literally. I said, Mrs. Gill, you don't need to come here tomorrow to have Mark Hain rip up the stairs. Oh, yeah, I want to, blah, blah. Yeah, I know why. Because you're going to tell him to get rid of this and get rid of that. And then he's going to attack me. That's what's going to happen. This is where they pit one against the other in the family, because he's not going to want to hear. Well, Mrs. Gill said, break it up, get rid of it. I'll be like, no, because I need it. And if I go outside when she's here with him and she's saying, take that, we'll just say Mr. Lace's cat house down, right? Take it apart and make Judy pay to get rid of the wood and everything else, so it can be a big gaping landfill, a hole. because that's all just for more weeds to grow and whatever, right? And more dust in the air, more grit, more grime. Okay. And so it looks flat, but she still won't be happy with it because it's not green, because there's no grass. But I suppose fake grass, when it comes to weeds, as long as it looks green, is probably good enough for them, I suppose, but not for us when it comes to mowing that kind of crap or walking on it or whatever. But besides that point, or you need the storage. I need to put my chairs. What, you want me to throw out the chairs? No, I'm going to put my chairs in there after I take out what's in there, and I'm going to put the chairs in there with a few other little things because I can't leave them anywhere else. Right. And it's like they don't even want me to use the backyard. Not that I can go down the stairs and use the backyard, but besides that point, and if I go outside when she's here with him and she's saying do this and do that, and if well, no, Mrs. Gill, I need that. No, you don't. I don't want the city, blah, blah. You're using the city again, always using the fucking city again. And that's why I'm going to work with this social worker, because this is bullshit. Because I go to these Acorn meetings every now and then, a housing advocacy group, right, that, tries to push back on this shit that's happening to renters in general. They this predatory behavior. And like this guy that came to the house in January of 2025 with the black turban on could barely speak English, saying get rid of everything. Like, what the hell is that? In the middle of winter? Yeah. And then showed up when everything was covered with snow and said we weren't doing it fast enough, even though you couldn't see what was left after my son had already busted his butt for days and days and days, working like a Hulk to do whatever it was that they wanted to do, because Mrs. Gill was in there like a dirty shirt. Get rid of this. I don't care about that planter pot. I don't care if it looks really nice. I don't care. Who cares if it looks new? Just get rid of it. Whatever. It's the same shit. With the lawyer fucking son in the background, gonna show up like some raging fucking lunatic because he ain't gonna put up with it. Yeah, okay. I already know you're corrupt. I've dealt with your kind already enough, whether it's within your own race or whether it's just with the profession in general when it comes to the Attorney General. Fraser Health Authority with Andrew the Dragon. And then I can't remember the dude's name that was working as a lawyer for CIBC Bank. Okay. They taught me a lot. They taught me how corrupt they really are in terms of professional individuals that will sell their soul for a paycheck, basically. Yeah. Because their government told them to. Yeah. Because the government don't stand up for nothing. Hell no. No. So whether they're watching my videos or not, honestly, I at this point in life, I don't really give a shit because I'm too busy cleaning up fucking mouse crap right now. And I'm not even looking forward to it because it's not like I can even get rid of the mice because they're coming in from, I don't know where the hell they're coming in from. They're still down there because if I go open the door, two cats will run in. Either Mickey will run in, just beeline in, because she's on the hunt for mice, or Lily. Sky doesn't like it down there, but Lily will, and she on the hunt. Oh yeah, both of them. So that means they're still down there, and they're coming in from the outside of the walls because they're not all plugged up yet. But for some reason, that's my responsibility. Yeah, okay. So I have to plead and beg my son to continue doing what he was doing because he did. What did you do? Half a house? Andre?
I don't know.
Well, he did one or two walls, but he didn't do them all. And they're still down there.
Maybe like 1/4% of the house? house.
A quarter of the house. Okay, so he's done a quarter. So 3/4 of the walls on the outside still need to be done, quote unquote, properly. And, I have to pay for that shit. And he just gave up with it because he's so busy with his own life. So now I have to beg and plead him. And then he's going to get mad at me. Yeah, but Mrs. Gill's got me busting up this and busting up that. And I have to take it. And I got to, no, I'll have my guys come do it, Judy. You just pay them. No. It ain't happening like that. It ain't happening like that. I will die first before that fucking shit happens. No, I'm not. I already got a dust bucket outside. I don't need a monsoon of dust. Okay? And I'm sick of weeds. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of morning glory. I'm sick of it. What little I had in my mind to try and make it nice a little bit, I have to find my seeds. I don't know, through just moving things around downstairs. I have to find my seeds because I was going to try and, grow a few tomatoes, and definitely wanted to do a few flowers because I think I got flower seeds downstairs. So I was supposed to go downstairs and I was going to look for the seeds and just try and start a few seeds. And I'm even willing to go to Home Depot and, spend $100 on plants that are already started if I can't get them started because I'm too busy with other things, because it's multiple things, right? And I was going to turn that pond area, start working on turning it into a little herb garden with flowers or something. But that's not good enough, though. She wants flat sand. Okay. Okay, you want flat sand. Well, over my dead body. Yeah. Because I don't think I'm too far away from it. I don't. And the other thing is they just keep popping up too. And some of them, I don't think all of them, but some of them, I'm going to leave it on this note because I don't want to go around in circles, even though there's 5 people watching. But besides that point, since this all started, well, it really started when we were downstairs with Mr. Gill before he died. He told me he was going to only live for 6 weeks. I told his daughter-in-law that's what he told me. And sure enough, he was spot on. He pretty much died within 6 weeks from the time I talked to him. And that's when Mrs. Gill was like, get rid of the freaking food and all this other crap. And just whatever. Anyway, I don't know what I was going to say. But yeah, no, since that point forward, somebody came into the garage, took the wood, laid it outside in the front and the back there, up against like that. I have it on video so that they could complain about the picture, which was a setup. That was somebody on their side that did that. And that wood wasn't even there for 24 hours where I had it inside the garage. Okay? So they're doing it with intent, right? Just like Mrs. Gill calling. I go outside. There she is at the bottom of the stairs. Oh, where did you come from? Oh, well, insurance guy, you have to get rid of everything. My son doesn't like this, she says. My son. She didn't say my grandson. She said my son, the mean one, right? I said, oh, okay. You want me to move Amari's stroller? You want me to get everything out from underneath the steps, even though the steps are broken? Okay. I went outside. I worked. After I was done doing whatever, I realized that my lock on my shed had been popped. So the next day I went, when I went to close the shed and lock it, the thing came off. And that's when I realized that somebody had popped it and put it back to make it look like it was fine. But it didn't look like anything had been moved around inside of it per se, outside of maybe a bucket that was taken out of the shed and put underneath the steps, right? And somebody had poured turpentine or something into the bucket, and they pulled out all those things that were underneath the steps, those garden meshes, and scattered them around. Okay. So after I did whatever I did in the yard, I was out there for like 7 hours, people. And yeah, it did. It affected my eyes. Okay. 2 days later, I blinder more than I was prior to doing that. Okay. Because my eyes don't adjust to light, right? Very well. And anyway, when I went to go close the door, the thing came off. So I just put it there temporary. So I was going to try and re-screw it in the next day, right? Because it was getting too late already. And I would have had to look for screws and whatever, right? Got up in the morning and Andre said that somebody had opened the door. Yep. And they left it open like this. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is Mrs. Gill came on such and such a day. I went out the next day, did whatever I did, realized that my door had already been busted open to my shed, the one with the lock, and then got up the next day and somebody had opened it to look inside again, took something from at the corner of the shelf because it had a gaping hole in it. Didn't look like anything else. In other words, it wasn't a homeless person that did it. Because if it would have been a homeless person that would have came in there and did that crap, I would have been rated of more shit. And from what I could tell, only one thing from my opinion was taken out of there just to mess with my head. And they left the door open. And because I had moved the table, they poked their nose into the other shed. And the only person that would be interested in doing that is the one that's got me out there on pins and needles, already doing yard work with the whip on my back, with subliminal threats. Oh, well, we don't want to piss off the grandson. We don't want to piss off my son to the son who's mean, because he ain't going to put up with it. And being that he's a lawyer, he can put your ass in place, I guess, like the attorney general, and just get it thrown out of court, right? In terms of if it should ever go to court, being that I'm a nobody and they got all the money and they can wheel and deal with the bribes. They're in good with the city because the mom is the realtor, right? You know, there's a business for them, people. They manipulate the local markets to their liking, to what suits them, for profit. And I mean, like, I'm not trying to be ungrateful here, but where do you expect me to go, man? Your people have made it where there's nothing affordable. And yeah, it's your people, because your people are the ones that basically can control the province. When it comes to that political voting bloc. Oh, but the Chinese do it in Richmond. Yeah, they only do it because you do it. And don't tell me there ain't no Punjabis in freaking Richmond, because there are. It's not just Chinese. Right? So I'm scared. They're going to make my son mad at me again. They'll pick a fight over Mr. Lace's cat house or something, over a stroller that I need for Amari. Unless I can hide it like a dirty secret. But before I can hide it, my 86-year-old landlord wants Marcane to bust up this and bust up that so it can be flat dirt. And it's not even real dirt. It's just landfill. That's it. And make me pay for that. After I paid to men to build the things that are already out there to cover up landfill and water drainage problems and weed problems and raccoon shit. They want a Marc Andre to go up. Well, no, they want me or Andre or both. It's getting kind of dangerous for me to work outside, really, people. It is, because it's just my eyes just don't adjust to light. Okay? If I was to read to you I will try. I will try and read to you what my eye specialist said. And maybe if I read it, you will understand what my eyes are going through, because people take it for granted. They really do. And they are very hurtful. I don't know. It's hard to see. Okay, I'm going to write it. This came from my family doctor. No, not my family doctor. From my eye specialist. In regards to my long-term disability being denied, because I can walk up 4 steps and I can walk 4 blocks, and I can somewhat read with strong glasses. Yeah, okay. All right. Oh, and I can lift things still, as if I'm the Hulk, with no limitation. Yeah, okay. I'm 92 pounds and I can lift anything and everything with absolutely no limitation. Yeah, okay. Does that sound reasonable to you at 64 years old? I'd like to know who can do that at 64, at 92 pounds. So that means I can lift 300 pounds with no limitations? Okay. All right. Anyway, I am writing as Judy's treating ophthalmologist to support her appeal for PWD designation. I first met her in March of 2023, at which point she was profoundly visually impaired. What's happening to my eyes right now is they're fading in and fading out, fading in and fading out, fading in and fading out, okay? Impaired from uncontrolled and untreated glaucoma. I have seen her on at least 16 occasions since, including 3 surgical procedures. Laser surgery in this eye that did absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. The Roto-Rooter that worked for, 2 years? It should have lasted 5 to 7 years, but for whatever reason, just a little over 2 years. And then he put that tube in my head that goes to the back of the ear just recently in January, which was one big flop. It was one big flop. I'm going to see him real soon. I'm going to tell him it was just one big flop. It injured me more than it hurt. It helped me. It didn't do it. Just, I don't know what. You don't tell me. Oh, it's the residue of what is that called? The nerves were dying before we even had the surgery, because my pressure was starting to go back up. That's why he recommended that, right? Because eye drops not good for me. It makes me tired, and I can't afford to be tired all the time, right? Even though I'm tired all the time, but besides that point. But what happened? I had surgery, and 2 days later, I was downstairs starting to clean up my mouse shit. Because don't forget, I'm paying full rent for something I can't use until I can clean it up. Right? And yeah, so I started in the laundry room because I got to get a handle on these stupid mice. So 2 days, 3 days after surgery, I'm downstairs cleaning up fucking mouse shit. Okay? And I just been going ever since, basically. Anyway, My apologies if my previous letter was insufficiently detailed. I guess he wrote a letter before in 2023 because it was denied in 2023, but they denied it. I remember now why they denied it in 2023, because I didn't have a family doctor to fill out the other part of the form. So I submitted it just with the eye specialist and it wasn't good enough. So it wouldn't have mattered what he wrote. I didn't have a family doctor, so it was actually pointless to put it in because that's why it was denied. But besides that point, I am hoping that this letter remedies any prior omissions. No, it was denied in 2023 because I couldn't secure a family doctor to fill out the other portion of the long-term disability application. But I put it in anyway because of the severity of my quote-unquote disability. To which it seems like everybody around me just doesn't take it serious. And I'm like, wait till your turn comes. You're not out of the woods yet. You might be one of those quote unquote unlucky ones where you end up becoming blind. And then when you walk in my shoes, in your own shoes, blind as a bat, then maybe you'll feel different. But until that happens, anyway, Judy is profoundly visually impaired. Her left eye has lost the central vision from glaucoma, leaving her with functionally nothing. Yeah. In that eye, functionally nothing. The other eye has advanced glaucoma with only a small amount of central vision. And it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse every day. The harder I work, depending on what I'm doing, the worse it gets. She is looking through a very small tunnel in that eye. And it's not even, it's blurry, extremely blurry, foggy, either too bright or too dark, with no color, very little, right? Where everything starts to merge together and it looks more like shadows when it comes to black and white contrast. In addition to the obvious deficits to her visual functioning, it's going like this. Can you see my hand? So, vision. Try reading when you're. Good luck. In addition to the obvious deficits to her visual functioning, such as ability to scan and navigate a scene, oh my God, follow a moving object and find and notice things, there are several other serious impairments in her vision. She has decreased color vision and decreased contrast, making it difficult to perform activities of daily living, such as eating, preparing food, and getting dressed due to difficulty. I don't know why he put getting dressed, but the eating part for sure, because I prefer to eat with my fingers if I can, because when I'm looking at a plate of food, I can't distinguish the broccoli from the potatoes, from the meat, from the stick of celery. It all just one big mange pause of something. And it doesn't matter the color of the plate in terms of contrast. So I prefer with my fingers, because then I can feel it's a piece of broccoli. I can feel that it's a piece of potato. Oh, this is a piece of meat. Yeah, because I can feel it with my fingers. Right? When it comes to cooking, I can still cook, I can prepare, but I like Andre to check and make sure that the meat is done, because if you leave it to me, chances are I'll probably burn it because I can't see the color of the meat. So before I'd give you raw meat, I'd overcook the meat, which might make me burn the meat. And I don't like burnt meat. So it's like, okay, Andre, everything's in the oven. Like we did ribs last night. I put the ribs in, I cut the ribs, I put them in the tray, yada yada. Right? He got some potatoes and yada yada. And I cut off what I thought I could see and had him double check, and then he watched the meat. Right? He right. Right. Okay, due to difficulty determining dress. Okay, getting dressed. So maybe it has to do with like being fashionable with colors, instead of looking tacky, because you don't know what the color of the outfit is compared to what you're going to put with the other part of the outfit. It could be a real clash. So you'd have to ask somebody, well, what color is what color do you see? Is it a green? Is it a blue? Like I can't see, right? The color, right? So I guess in that situation, maybe he might be right there. Due to difficulty determining figure from background. She has great difficulty adapting to changes in illumination. Oh, that is so true. So true. Taking her eyes much longer, on the order of 30 minutes rather than 2 to 3 minutes. That's true. Maybe even longer sometimes if my eyes get stuck with just whatever. Right? In terms of, you go out, you come in, you're inside the house, you open the door, you're looking outside. And yeah, it's not good. And then you come in and your eyes are stuck in some kind of weird zone where it's harder to see, right? And it takes a while for it to clear out sometimes, and adjust, I suppose. The so-called movie theater, whatever that means, phenomenon of going into a dark room and adjusting to the light. Her profound decreased contrast sensitivity makes mobility in the dark, for example, seeing curbs or seeing the edges of stairs, much more difficult. Well, it doesn't matter if it's dark or out in the bright light. I have to be very careful when I'm say Tisha takes me out in her car, and I get out of the car and I'm coming into a curb, just to go into a building, and how you have right, I can't, or I'm coming out, I can't see the lip unless there's like a line painted on it. Then maybe I'll pick up the line to let me know that there's a lip. Otherwise I'll just fall. So dark or light, right? I have to be careful with that. That's where you learn to use your head. And of course the cane. I would use the cane to tap my way to see, right? She has no depth perception. Yeah. Again, making mobility and feeding, preparing food more challenging. Yeah. I mean, it's not that hard to boil broccoli and put a fork in it to tell that it's cooked. But it's different if you're cooking meat, chicken, pork, or something like that, where you don't want to eat the blood because of the type of meat that you're cooking. If it's beef, it's okay, right? Not hamburger, though. You got to cook hamburger all the way through. So that's where Andre comes in. She is fatigued from having to work hard to process things visually with less input. And it's true. It is so true. And I'm already working so hard. And these landlords, they're putting so much stress on me. It's like killing me, people. I'm telling you. Like, I am so petrified to find out what Mrs. Gill is going to be trying to make my son do, only because she can make those demands. Because in her mind, I don't know. I don't know, people. Like, does she want me dead? Is that the solution to your problem? Right? Because sooner or later it's gonna come to that. Because I'm already struggling with all this stupid shit. Like, this shit that they put me through in this stupid yard just makes me want to cry. And, you know, right? I'm shaking. I was supposed to go downstairs today, and I was going to attempt to go into Auntie Shmei's room and start vacuuming up mouse shit. Because I'm taking things out, and I'm having to wash my buckets and whatever. And it's like all over in there. Nobody cares about that.
Hey, it doesn't fucking break.
Andre?
Yeah.
Hey, did you swear?
No.
Sounded like maybe you did to me.
It maybe sounded like that, but I didn't.
Not only from, okay, so let's continue reading here. Okay, more. Extremely common. Okay, her sleep is disrupted, and don't forget, I don't even have proper sleeping situation because of Amari. It takes two to keep an eye on Amari, and it's done normally through shift work. That's why I get up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and they're sleeping, and I'm working, and I will either work all day right up until 7 or 8 or 9 at night, right? Or I'll start at 2, 3 in the morning, and then I might lay down at 8:30, 9 a.m., think I'm only going to lay there for an hour, maybe find out that I wake up at 11:30, and I'm like, okay, you guys wake up, right? And then I'll go all day, going, unless I crash, and I just say, that's it, Andre, I'm out for the day, I'm resting, I have to, right? And I just kind of like lay in sleep and cat nap and, do a little this maybe for an hour or half an hour, because it's hard to do 12, 14, 16-hour days under my situation. I'm not young and I can see, and like, it's awful. Like, it's awful. And people take advantage of it. They really do. You want to turn the backyard into a dust bucket and then come back to me in a year from now, assuming that I'm still living in this house if you haven't already gotten rid of me, and then start complaining about the fucking weeds out there and that we're not mowing it fast enough with a broken down lawnmower, and you don't want to buy a new lawnmower? Not that you can mow freaking weeds that are like anywhere from 3 feet to 4 feet high, because all it takes is one rain, a week or two, and next thing you know it, they're like in morning glory all over the place yet. You can't mow anything until you pull the morning glory. Otherwise, you just chop shit up and the morning glory just reroots itself. So before you know it, you've got 1,000 little morning glory all over the place from one strand of morning glory because you didn't pull it before you freaking mowed it. And for what? A picture so that you can sell the house and wash your hands of it and then go out into the community and brag about how fine you are because you can afford to go off and do it again as you basically exploit your tenants to make it so that they do the work for you. And you know, there's like, yeah, no. I'm scared to pants off them all the time. Like I've lost so much shit in this house, like it's pathetic. You don't even know, man. I lost my dignity because I was always on YouTube crabbing on about this, crabbing on about that, having my children murdered and having their organs harvested. You think that makes me feel proud? No. Right? You know? Have stupid people like Tamika Johnson calling the city and then the landlord saying, oh, well, we never did it. Well, that's up for debate. I could see Tamika Johnson doing it 3 times in a row over a period of 15 years. Well, since when did Shmay die? 2018. Okay. I could, because she already admitted it on her stupid YouTube channel with her video that she took down, but I got it up on my channel. Right. And she thought she was being cocky about it, but whatever. But all for the other times, I do believe it was my landlords. I do. They're the only ones that have anything to gain from it because they got that case, right, that they built for themselves. Yeah. That's why you weren't outside helping. You were too busy building a case against me before you were actually helping me. And now you want to turn it into a dust bucket, one big mud pit, and then end up using that against me and then make my son go out there and deal with that problem so he can come back and abuse me and be mad at me because he's pissed off because he's doing shit that he doesn't want to do. When ultimately it's extreme yard maintenance that requires landscaping. And that's not routine yard maintenance when it requires landscaping. And what I did was landscaping. And I used what was available to me, whether I paid men to do it or I did it for myself, whether I found materials to do it in terms of wood, yada, 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 or whether I bought wood, which I did. And now you want to call it garbage? Because you get off on razzing me and hurting me and stressing me out so that you can blindside me and then say you're not doing that and then say I was a good tenant all these years. Yeah, okay. I can't, somebody type something, but needless to say, I can't see with these glasses because you know how it is. So let's see who this person is. Oh, it's Bailey. Hi, Bailey. Thank you for visiting. I'm crabbing. What's new, pussycat? Serious. The landlord came by, Mrs. Gill, with her daughter-in-law, the one that's the realtor, to the mean son, to whom their son is now in charge of the house. And they warned me that if that man, the quote-unquote lawyer son to the mean man, came to the house because the city was called on me because I got a Mari stroller in the back and a few pieces of wood or whatever the hell it is from Mark Kane's dresser and anything else that my landlord wants to complain about, Mrs. Gill, that is, as well as they want Mark Kane or Andre. I said, not Andre. He's too young. Mark Kane's a man. He's strong. He can take down they want him to take down the stairs. I said, well, where is he supposed to put those rotten stairs? Because if he puts them someplace, it's going to be a problem. She said, well, she'll bring in a bin. Why would you bring in a bin for a few stairs if you, unless, of course, you've got a bigger agenda because she wants to take down the sheds, whatever sheds she can think she can take down, use the insurance company as the excuse to do it, just like she used the city of Surrey in January of 2025 to say, get rid of everything in the yard, get rid of everything in the garage, get rid of everything, including new planter pots, $1,500 surgers. It didn't matter what the fuck it was. Just get rid of it. And she hid behind the city to do that. And I do believe the guy took a bribe. Or he's a family member. Okay? Because that's how it rolls. And why would you bring a bin in for a few stairs and a couple of pieces of Marcane's old bed? Because he basically got evicted from the basement when the city sewage flooded the basement. But before we get too deep into that game, let's talk about the plumbers coming 29 hours too late. From the time the first phone call came in saying it was an emergency. Turn off the water in the house, but the water is still coming up from the freaking toilet. They didn't care. They didn't show up until the next day. And when they did show up, they were just sub pumping the sewage out into my backyard, straight from the toilet hole after they took off the toilet, waiting for the guys to come in with their freaking machines, their snakes. First, it was the small snake. They had to wait. So they were sump pumping the freaking sewage from the hole that they took off the toilet and putting it outside my window so that it was flooding fucking sewage all over my backyard. And then they tried that snake and that didn't work because they were just stalling for time, people. But you see, they didn't come when they were supposed to come. So it flooded in the middle of the night when my son was sleeping. If they would have came at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon when they were first called, they could have contacted the city right then and there and said, hey, we can't turn off the water from the main pipe downstairs, the main valve, because it's coming in from the city pipe. And they knew that, and that's the point. They knew it. They let it flood. They wanted to flood so that they had an excuse to say, take everything out of the basement and then play dumb on it. They effectively evicted my son in one day because of that shit. And then they laughed about it with their guys. Oh, you'll be sleeping in shit tonight. As they're snaking the fucking thing at 7:30 at the night, 29 hours later with a different freaking pump, damn well knowing it was a waste of time. And then they called the city to shut it off at the freaking main line up on the road. That was a setup. Yeah. They knew exactly what they were doing. If they would have came when they were called, and if they were real professional plumbers, not looking to run game on people and get them evicted and make extra money for themselves or whatever the hell it is that they do, they would have called the city within the first. Tisha's husband is a plumber. A professional plumber makes $100,000 a year being a plumber. If he would have came to the house by himself, not with 10 men, 7 men, 6 men all standing around looking down a fucking hole with a bunch of shit coming up out of it. I'm like, what is going on? I don't know what's going on here. Something's going on. It's, we're just going to hang out and wait for a while and see what happens. No, that shit would have been on lockdown. Alex would have had them he would have called Mrs. Gill and said, call the city right now, ASAP, because that is fucking city water coming up through their drainage pipe. And if you don't get it turned off ASAP and shut off the sewer line, it's going to all come up and back up. And it did. It filled up the freaking bathtub in the middle of the night full of fucking shit all over, flooded out into the hall, into the bedroom. And my son said, as soon as that sewage water hit the freaking carpet in the hall, it just went whoosh. It just sunk right down deep into the carpet and disappeared as it was coming out like a flood. Yeah. Because they didn't come. And the next thing, what? Get out, get everything out, take everything out. Remove your stuff now. The plumbers have to come in and do restoration repairs, costing me all this money. Yeah, okay. whatever. And I'm left now holding the bag on the rent, hydro, gas, and cable. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And they still raised my rent. And you know what? I've been paying full. In December, I paid, my son only paid half of his share. He gave me $500. So I had to pay the other rest of it from the $2,250. January, I had to pay $2,250 all by myself. February, they raised the rent to $2,350. So now I pay $2,350, and I still can't even use the basement because I'm still too busy running around freaking cleaning up mouse shit. Okay? Catching them in those sticky traps 3 at a time, right? Thinking I need to bother my son to start plugging up the outside walls because he hasn't completed that job. Well, I've got them, the landlords and their whoever, creeping the yard, opening up my shit, looking inside, whatever, moving things, taking pictures, accusing me of this, say, get rid of that. With my landlady, I want to bring in a bin. I want to bring in a bin. I want to bring in a bin. Okay, you go ahead, Mrs. Gill. Well, you can pay for it. You can pay my guys to do whatever they need. No, I'm not paying nothing. It's enough I'm paying the damn rent as it is without even, for what? To be harassed. When I know the real deal. I was here. That's why they didn't want me to record what was going on, people, when they were all standing around that toilet. I had a 30-second video. Shut the video. I'm calling Mrs. Gill. We're going to complain that you're harassing us. What? You guys, 7 of you just standing there, looking at a hole with sewage coming out of it. Yeah, okay. Wow. And then I asked one of those dudes, I say, oh, how often does this shit happen? Can't be happening very often. He goes, no, it actually happens quite a bit because of the construction that's going on out here. And when they came to the house today, my landlord and her daughter-in-law, they were saying that they were having a hard time with the city, right? Not wanting to take responsibility, even though it was a city pipe, because the deductible for whatever was going on in the basement with the repairs, they don't want to pay for it because they're trying to say it was the construction workers out on the road because of some damn big ass truck. And I'm like, I don't know about that, because in the summertime, you know, turn on the cold water tap and it was starting to smell like sewage. Only I was scared to call the city. Why wouldn't I be afraid to call the city? Call the city, and next thing you know it, I got the whip on my back, right? And then it lasted for a couple of 2-3 months, and then 2 months or whatever. And then I thought maybe because of the heat, right? You know, sometimes you get water that's and it went away for a bit, but it started as soon as they started busting up the freaking rock. Because they were busting up the rock at the top of the hill to make their big ass hole for their building. And that's when the smell from the water tap was coming in like sewage. So that shit was instigated from those guys at the corner of the road there with the duplex that's now making that freaking building with the $3 clips on it, holding pipes together. But mission accomplished. It was used to evict Marcane, and just like the yard, you know, bring a bin. Why? It's just some broken down stairs. Unless, of course, you want Marcane to take down Mr. Lace's cat house, take down the hen house area, take down this, rip up that, so you can make one big mud pit, and then come back to me in 6, 7, 8 months, a year from now, saying there's too many weeds out there and it's too, you know, gross, and where's the grass, and water drainage problems, and you know, you still got a Mari stroller. We told you to put it someplace. Yeah, but you took away my shed. So where am I going to put it? Can't have it in the garage. Like what? Right? Do you see what I have to live with? As they're opening and closing my stuff and taking things and moving them and taking pictures after they can say it's not you. You're still doing the problem when it's your guys that are coming in doing it on purpose. Your guys came here and put it something, so you telling me you're going to fix the stairs. Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it, you know. And why didn't they take the stairs then? They were here. Why didn't they take the stairs when they were working in the basement? It's the same guys. They've been coming around for freaking years. Why does it have to be my son? So my son gets mad at me. So Mrs. Gill can say, get rid of this and get rid of that. Don't listen to Judy. You just do it. We'll just make Judy pay for it. Yeah, okay. Okay, and I'm not going to die from this stress? Okay. Okay. I'm glad I was able to catch your live. I'm listening, love. Mrs. Gill is bad news, not just her son. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. You don't even know. I told Andre, if I die from this stress because of this bullshit that keeps going on over this stupid fucking yard, and I'm working like a damn dog, trying to solve my own problems with the mice and all this crap and or whatever. You tell Mrs. Gill and her family it's because of them. You have my permission. I never have happiness or peace in this house. She wants me to throw out planter pots. I'm like, well, no, I'm going to put them in the middle of the pond there. I'm going to try to make little herb garden with a few flowers, maybe, assuming that I have any energy to do it. Because right now, all my energy is between Amari, cleaning up after Amari, laundry, cooking, dishes. I got to move things around, organize things, put things into categories, right? I have to prepare for when I'm going blind. I have to have a backup plan. Obviously the basement is difficult because I'm wiping everything, and as fast as I'm wiping, I know the mice are down there, and I'm telling Andre, or even when anybody's down there helping me, if I hire Winnie to come down and help, or Tony was around for a couple of days, I said, you need, when you're around, you look for the mouse shit because I can't see it. I can feel it. And because they get into everything, they run on everything. And yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. So in other words, what I'm saying is I'm wiping and I'm cleaning, but as I'm doing that, they're also still running around down there, which means I'm probably going to have to do something again. If I don't, unless I spend $400 or $300 on that foam and beg and plead for my son to go outside and fill up all the freaking holes outside, and that's assuming that might keep them out, because for all I know, they could be coming in through the pipes or they're coming in from underneath the floorboards, people. They're in the walls. They're just not upstairs because I've got cats, and if I get one or two up here, it's just one or two. Like I've had one that was in a box there, was living there for a while. But my cats are on it, right? That's why when I open the door to go downstairs, the minute I open up the door, Lily, she just beelining in there, and she beelining down towards Shmei's room. Same thing with Mickey. She just beelines in, and they just start running around, and they're going on a mouse hunt. And they're using the yard to blindside me, to hurt me. I'm going to be dead soon. And then my son's just going to throw everything out. There you go. You can have your house back. Hope you choke on it for what it's worth. Get rich. Be happy. Brag. I don't care. I won't be around to see it. But don't think it won't follow you, because it will. You can't treat people like shit all the time and expect fucking roses out of it. As a matter of fact, when the city and Mrs. Gill said, get rid of everything, you know what my son did? He cut down the freaking rose bush and he got rid of it. I don't even have roses anymore. I'm listening, love. I'm glad I was able to catch your live. Mrs. Gill is bad news, not just her son. I'm so scared, like you don't even know. Because I'm not well. Okay? And I have to fight back. right up until the bitter damn end, because it's obnoxious now. It's like beyond fucking. You fooled me too many times. Oh, plant a garden. My yard has got drainage problems. I can't plant a garden, Judy. You plant extra food this year, 2017. No, the only reason you wanted me to plant extra food was so that I'd get out there and I'd dig up the freaking ground and build in those garden beds so that when you put the house up for sale, you could advertise that there were garden beds. It wasn't because you wanted the garden. You wanted the garden beds so that you could make the property look more valuable in order to sell it for somebody else to do who knows what, okay? Andre, shut up. Right? And I did it. And then as I was doing it, somebody called the city on me, even though I was out there already working like a dog. So that meant I had to work like 5 dogs instead of 1. I became a 5-man crew with my own landscaping center as I was planting a garden for my landlady because she asked me to, because she had drainage problems, but she didn't care about my drainage problems. And now she wants to turn it into a fucking mud pit and create more drainage problems and then tell me that she likes it that way, like she wants all fucking sand out in the front. Like, who does that? I'm thinking about planting flowers and herbs this year with a little bit of herb on my mind, you know, in terms of make her feel good, right? But no, oh God, no, that's you can't do that. That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. No, they didn't care at all. No, no. Well, today the daughter-in-law, Manjeet, right? I think Manpreet or Manjeet. Oh yeah, you know, you've been a good tenant. How many years? 15? Yeah. Well, I paid my rent. I'm sorry for after Uncle John died, ended up being in 2 separate payments, but I always paid it, right? You know what I'm saying? Now I pay it in full. I had to go bankrupt. I knew there was a reason why I was going to go bankrupt. Because of this. My instincts told me the shit was going to hit the fan. So basically all my money is being sucked up between rent, gas, and hydro and cable. And even then I had to, TELUS phoned me up, wanted to cut me deal for 116 because I'm paying 2, right? 200, 190 plus 92 or whatever. So anyway, I agreed to do the TELUS, but then I phoned up Shaw and I'm like, okay, well, you know, I want to know if, you know, they're going to come in 2 weeks and change all the hardware, if I'm like going to be charged for whatever. Anyway, I ended up staying with Rogers Shaw, right? And they gave me everything that I have now with a little higher something perk speed or I don't know. It's the more newer technology, right? For $122 versus $192. Well, that's tax with the 92, so $20. So versus 170, I get it for 122 with better service, right? In terms of higher bandwidth or whatever it is that they do, right? The newer technology. So I had to contact TELUS and say, no, it's okay. I'm staying because I've been with them for 30 years, right? That's a long time to be with one company, right? So, you know, I'm scrounging around. What I'm trying to say is I'm scrounging around just to make sure that I can meet the gas and everything else, right? You know, I'm reluctant to rent out to the basement to anybody, even if I had an available room, which I don't at this point because I'm sorting out things. I'm taking things down, whatever, sorting out things, right? And then, you know, whether we end up using something or not, or I try and sell it, I don't know yet. The point is, I wouldn't feel comfortable renting out a room to anybody at this point because, you know, you get people stealing from you. They start having their friends come by who might steal from you, right? Who knows? So I'm like stuck paying full rent. And I don't even have peace down there because of these damn mice. I don't know when the rat shows up. It hasn't been around for the last week and a bit that I'm aware of, but that could start chewing in the middle of the night and it wakes us up. I don't know what to do about that. The point is, all my money is going to hold the fort down. That's it right now. As I'm being told to get ready to pay for a bin and a bunch of guys to come in here and start ripping up shit if Marcane doesn't do it for her for free. And it's wrong.
No, I take it back. I take it back. I take it back.
You want sand in the front? Then you pay for that. You dig everything up and you can lay back down your sand. As a matter of fact, there's a big hole down there with a hole. Right? Just spread the sand around, come in with a dump truck, throw in freaking 3-4 inches of sand, and there you go. You got sand. You want a mud pit in the back? Then rip everything up and come back, play in the mud, make your mud pies as if you were a little girl and you had no problem doing that. And that's assuming that you were even allowed to make mud pies when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? But don't expect me to live in the mud, because you know it's going to be coming up the stairs with the paws of the raccoons and everything else blowing in the house, right? When you have landfill and it rains and the rain is heavy, it hits landfill, you know what it does? It spits up the grit and the gravel and the sand in the landfill, and it flies and it attaches itself to everything that's around it. Which means sooner or later you're going to have to go outside and scrub everything. For what it is worth, I absolutely believe you. Would it help you to see if I type in uppercase? No, it's okay. I just have to change glasses. Let's get back to finishing reading this, and then I'm going to read what I wrote in defense of myself, because I said I would, right?
I don't think I want to be the purple liquid no more.
It's just I struggle with this. Okay, Andre, please, I don't want to have to talk over you. Be quiet, please. You can talk later. That's all you do. Please stay quiet. My nerves are frazzled. Okay. Sensitivity. Quiet. Makes mobility. Andre! Please. Just tell me you can't talk right now. Sensitivity makes mobility in the dark. For example, seeing curbs or seeing the edges of stairs much more difficult. Well, it's like that in the daylight because of the blurriness and the fogginess. Yeah. She has no depth perception. Again, making mobility and feeding, preparing food more challenging. She has no, okay, read that. She is fatigued from having to work hard to process things visually with less input. This is extremely common. You just don't notice it because, unlike what people like to say in terms of, oh, you're always playing the victim. Oh, boo-hoo is you. You're just a bum, admit it. Yeah, right. Whatever I'm experiencing is common when you're going blind. To being tired because your brain is always on overdrive. What are you doing?
Nothing. Nothing.
Her sleep, huh?
Play my game.
Okay, I'm almost done. Her sleep disrupted. Her sleep is disrupted. It's double disrupted, right? Because of my situation with having to be on call basically for Amari 24/7. Okay? Because you know, if he has a seizure, I'm in action. Just like that. All it takes is Andre to wake me up if I'm sleeping and it's on. Her sleep is disrupted not only from stress and anxiety related to her vision loss, because it creates a lot of stress and anxiety, but also due to decreased light entertainment for her circadian rhythm. CIRCADIAN rhythm. So something ain't working right because I don't see right. So it affects my sleep no matter what. And that's probably why when I wake up, my eyes are worse. Like I get scared to go to sleep. And if I burn out and I want to sleep 10 hours off and on, 12 hours off and on over a 24-hour period to play catch up for all the other shit that I do throughout the week, you know, and then wake up not even feeling like I slept. Oh my God. You don't even know. As I'm being gang stalked in my own yard that I pay rent for, and I invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into, and put in thousands and tens of thousands of hours into, to now be told that it wasn't good enough and that I need to pay more thousands of dollars in order to correct something that I had already corrected, only I ain't going to be correcting it. I'm just going to turn it into a mud pit and a raccoon latrine. Because the thing about raccoons is, if they're pooping up over in this corner and you do something to cover up that corner, whatever it may be, they're just going to move to another corner and they're going to start pooping up over there. Or they're going to bust into that and ruin that and poop up in there. So you kind of like, you know what I mean? So yeah, you build to make it so that you narrow it down to where they have less to poop in. Because they don't poop just in one spot either, you know, they go from spot to spot sometimes, right? And yeah, anyway, who cares? Pretty soon I won't even see it and it won't matter to me. Because there is no physical disability other than vision under ideal conditions, she can walk without impediment. Flat surface, perfect and constant illumination, no obstacles. Well, when my son was here and I was working in the yard and he came by after work to help me finish up whatever I was doing out there, I still have pretty good footing, right? And of course, I got my work boots on and I've been out there too many hours to count. So it's kind of like I go on just memory, just like I do anything else these days without having my eyes. And so I walking and I'm stepping over something, right? And he go, "Oh, Mom, oh." And I'm like, "Don't worry. If I felt like I couldn't do whatever it was that I was doing out there, stepping over this, walking or whatever, I'd let you know because I can see shadow, right? Like I can see contrast, and yeah, I can still do that, but I have to be careful when it comes to depth. There is one thing out there that I told him he needs to dig up for me because I can't see it the way it blends into the dirt. Like, yeah, there's no grass there. Into the dirt, the landfill. It used to be a fern. He said, "Oh, it's a fern. It'll start to grow." And I said, "Well, I can't stay there because every time I come near it, my foot catches it, and that's what's going to make me fly." Outside of that, I still got pretty good footing and I can still somewhat navigate. But yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't I don't I don't think about it too much. I just try and do what needs to be done to the best of my ability with that whip on my back. I understand that they're trying to be proactive about it, but it boils down to having nothing in your yard. Basically, it's like living in a concentration camp, unless you're like a little robot that can bring out a chair, use it, and then put it away, even though there's no place to put the chair back into once they take down whatever it is else they want to take down. Yeah. She has no depth perception. Okay. She is, Andre, shut up. Please, please, please. She is fatigued from having to work hard to process things visually with less input. This is extremely common. Her sleep is disrupted not only from that rhythm and thing. So there's something, okay, and that's probably why my eyes are worse when I get up every day. Because, and the harder I worked, the worse it gets. Because there is no physical disability, right? Other than vision, under ideal conditions, she can walk without impediment. Flat surface, perfect and constant illumination, no obstacles, unless, of course, I'm working in the yard because I have no choice because it's a matter of survival. However, and if I ain't doing that, I'm having to pay more for something that I don't even want. And at that point, if it gets to that point, it will be used against me because I never took the time to bring in a dump truck back in 2010? A dump truck full of soil, dumped it into the backyard where there was 6 to 7, 8 inches of soil throughout the whole backyard so that I could sprinkle a bunch of seeds out there, grow grass, not walk on it for a year or two so it could take root, so that it'd be nice flat grass out in the back at this point with absolutely no weeds, just so I wouldn't be harassed now. Because that's what they want, flat grass, when it never even had flat grass. It had everything else I said it had: mud pit, drainage problems, weeds, morning glory, raccoon poo, gravel rocks, landfill. That was my backyard. However,
Listen to me, kind of.
the real world is not ideal, and she is unable
No, I'm not cheating.
to navigate the world unaided.
And also she has a boyfriend.
Andre, be quiet. Obstacles, changes in light, dark areas, curbs, uneven surfaces. This is completely in keeping with the level of her visual loss. Her reading is profoundly impaired. Clearly, you can see I'm struggling with this, right? Is this even live still? I don't know. Andre, is this still live?
Uh,
Is this still live?
here, let me see.
I don't know.
My phone died, something wrong with these.
They have been responsible for destruction.
Yeah, you're still alive.
Yeah. I can't read with these glasses on the computer. Okay. Well, I can't see. Okay. So, anyway, let's just carry on. Her reading is profoundly impaired, although there may be some more experimental, specialized glasses available in the future.
Banana.
These are not yet mainstream. They are expensive and do not yet back
I know it's not racist.
a track record of helping people in Judy's situation. So basically, what he's saying is even if I go to an eye optometrist and get a prescription pair of glasses, chances are, even if I got this experimental, new and approved, working on the kind that I need for my situation, they don't have a very good track record. And that's assuming that you can even get them and they're expensive. So even if I just get away from the dollar store glasses, which don't really work that much anymore because it's been too long, right? And get a prescription filled from it, who knows how long those glasses will last for because the eyes are deteriorating every damn day. The harder I work, the faster they deteriorate. And that's just the bottom line. In terms of her activities of daily living, her sleep, reading, eating, preparing food, and dressing. Well, I'm still wearing my old farmer clothes, so I ain't too worried about that. one time, one time I put on a shirt and it was inside out, right? Like inside out with something in the back when it should have been in the front, but either or it was inside out. And I went next door to my neighbor's house and they pointed it out to me. I guess he has a point, right? So I went into the garage and I changed my shirt around. But whatever. Don't ask me what color it is these days. Depending on what it is, I wouldn't be able to even tell you what the color is. Dressing are all profoundly impaired by her severe vision loss. Judy has been completely adherent to recommended therapy since she presented to our office with untreated high intraocular pressures through the emergency department. Judy's visual impairment is not periodic in nature. It is permanent, constant, and is not going to improve. And then he says, I hope this letter helps. Okay. That's what he wrote. I'm pretty sure I got it all. I don't think I missed anything. And then I wrote, I don't know if I can read it. How many pages? Well, I wrote like 5 pages here. 4 pages. But I don't want to read it because I'm struggling with it and I'm tired. Not right now, maybe later. So anyway, I don't know, people. It's unfair that I have to be thinking about fighting a lawyer over mud, invasive weeds, sand, landfill, a stroller, planter pots, or whatever. My day is shot. It's already 7 o'clock. I was supposed to go downstairs and force myself to do something. Even if it was only for an hour or 2. Because I'm tired, right? Okay, just making sure. Yeah, I changed the glasses. Oh, I know about raccoons. Yeah, raccoons. Oh my God. They are such pests. They're cute. You feel sorry for them when they come to your door and they sit there like a cat and they wait for their little pile of food to eat, right? But, I can't even keep my doors open in when they're around because they just come right into the house. If I hide oh my God, like you don't even know. Like it's really hard to to stop them from coming in the house when they're around, and they're always around because they love my yard. They've been here ever since I moved in, right? Every now and then they'll disappear, and I guess they do the circuit or something. But I always have mothers every year having their babies on the property, right? They bust into the X Club. They've been in the hen house area. They've been in the shed out there, which needs to be cleaned out, right? And they've been in my, they whatever. Okay. And so when it starts to get hot, you want to leave your doors open, right? No. They either come in through the back door, or they come out through the front, and they go for the cat box, with the cat food, right? Which I have just kind of like, and they'll pull it all the way out and try and get into it. If I take that, it's a bucket with a gamma lid, right? If I take that bucket and I put it in one of the bedrooms, do you know those little bastards will come into the house and go down the hall and go to the bedroom door and try and get into the bedroom, but of course the bedroom door is closed, right? So you walk this way, right? To go to the bathroom, you start walking down the hall, but because you left the door open, whether it's the back sliding door or the front door, you come down, start going down the hall, and a freaking raccoon will come barreling and charging you because it wants to run away and run outside, which is dangerous though because they're scared. So, like their teeth are very sharp. And so, it's like you have to keep the bloody doors closed all the time because you never know when they're going to show up trying to raid the freaking cat box food, like the bucket, right? With the cat food in it. And even if I try and put them, like lock the bucket in the bedroom, they smell it. The cat food's in a bucket behind a door down the hall. Those bloody things, they know this and they try and go get it. And so it's dangerous, right? So that's another thing. And then when I'm not kidding about, you don't want to make it where raccoons could start shitting all over the place in the back or in the front or anywhere on the property. They're not the ones having to clean up raccoon poo. I have to clean up the raccoon poo. And it starts to pile up, man, because, right? And so you end up covering it, you clean it all up and you either build something over it so they can't do it no more because they won't stop unless you build a greenhouse. Where the greenhouse was the biggest latrine. And the weeds used to grow like this. And in between the weeds was big piles of raccoon shit. Yeah, and you're going to take a lawnmower to that. Okay, no. Right? And then they moved over this way. Right? Oh my God. And then they moved over there. They still shit behind the tree every now and then. Oh my God. They've done it in my wood pile. Like, it's not worth it. It's like it's so stressful. Like, and they just want to make it worse. Why? To agitate me. To agitate me so I give up, so they have a reason to evict me. You can't say that the neighbors are complaining about the sheds, because Mrs. Gills tried to say that, the neighbors are complaining about the sheds. Well, first of all, these guys next door, they took some kind of tarp, and they've tarped around their whole porch. Because they sit out there with their friends and they have their little barbecue and, it protects them from the wind and just whatever. They've been like that for years. So they're not even looking. And whatever they're looking at, it's not that much that they can see, right? Same thing with the Syrians next door, right? They're not looking into my backyard. They can't see shit from wherever they are over there. Even if they were looking out their damn window, they couldn't see anything. So, and those people over there on that side, their fence is so freaking high, they're not interested in looking, right? They mind their own business. They like Marcane. No, it's just a means to complain, to threaten, to intimidate, to extort, to scare, right? To make you work harder and to use it against you and to hurt you. That's it. You want a landscape? Well, then you pay for it. And don't leave me a bunch of sand, grit, landfill, raccoon poo, and all that other crap. Because if you leave that for me, then you're going to leave it for your next tenant. But then all she has to say is, plant me a garden, please. Right? And they'll want to please her and they'll plant a garden for her. And the process will just start all over again. And they'll be wanting to try hard like me until there's nothing left. And then they won't want them, just like they don't want me. But they haven't wanted me for a long time, people, because it always boils down to money. The yard was just the tool to try and evict me. And yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure they could have really gotten down and dirty. But it's always pending. All right. At 64 years old, I took my government, the province. I dare you, Mrs. Gill, take your government to court. Try it. Okay. Read the legislation. Read the Criminal Code of Canada and stand for something. Okay, you know, Punjabis are crying on about, oh, we had to suffer racism, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's picking on us, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, right. Everybody's picking on you. That's why you guys own almost everything in British Columbia, Canada. I don't think so. It's more like the other way around. Okay, I got a long list of Punjabis picking on my family. You want to take it there? We can talk about Amari and what happened to him. You want to take it there? We can talk about Shimei and what happened to her dead body because of a Punjabi with a turban on. Okay, I'm just saying, you want to take it there? We can take it there. One of the reasons why I have what I have is because the people that were supposed to give me the referral for an eye specialist didn't put the referral in. Instead, they lied. They said they were going to do it and they didn't do it. And then what happened? Months and months and months and months went by. And the referral never went through. And I just got blinder and blinder and blinder until finally, eventually, I had to go to the hospital. And that was a bunch of Punjabis that did that to me. Yeah, I'm just saying. So for all the doctors and lawyers and all these other stuff, like, I guess it really depends on what side of the fence you're standing on. Because the way I see it, I've been injured more by Punjabis than I have by anybody in all my life. And that's just a fact. So before you cast stones, you know, take your government to court for something and stand up for human rights for all people, because I would never wish for your family to be having their organs pillaged, never mind murdered, and then have their murders cover up so that the wealthy in the community can pillage whatever was murdered, right? It was a Punjabi that injured Amari at the time of Amari's birth. Yeah. Just saying. And I'm 64 years old and I'm fighting Punjabis, thinking about taking Punjabis to court with the temple because I'm fed up with it. Because I'm fed up with it. As they're calling me a good tenant. Well, if I'm such a good tenant, then treat me better. If you're trying to be proactive, well, then don't threaten to bring in bins and expect my son to do your dirty work and make him pissed off at me, because ultimately at the end of the day, you want to hurt me and create a fucking mud pit so you can use it against me at a later date by accusing me of not fixing the mud pit when I first moved in, when I damn well gave it my all to fix the mud pit. And now that the mud pit is somewhat kind of controlled and just needs a few minor repairs in there, she wants to turn it into a freaking tsunami of a mud pit. And for what? She's going to sell the house anyway. So that's all it is. And it's a syndicate. Anyway, that's it. That's where I'm at. What was the title of this video? I already forgot. Okay, I don't know what you said there, Bailey. You redacted it. They have been responsible for destruction on the farm. On your farm, raccoons? Yeah, raccoons can be very destructive. And that's another thing. Nobody helps me with these raccoons. They ruin my shit when they get into my sheds and they move in and they have their babies. Nobody can kick them out. You call the city animal, department. The city will come and they tell you, no, nothing. You can't do nothing with them because, quote unquote, they're protected by federal law. Yeah, right. So if they're in the X Club and there's a mother in there with the babies, they trash the shit. Half of everything will be thrown out because they just ruin it. And they'll live there for like 2 or 3 months. So there's nothing you can do until they leave, until the babies leave with the mother. And that's it. The one out here in the front, it needs to be cleaned, but they have their babies in the one in the front, and I kind of leave it the way it is because they like it like that. But this year, that one side has to be gutted, which we'll be doing very soon. But it's just kind of better just to throw it a few things in there so that they can make a nest because they like that little shed in the front. It keeps them away from the other places. Otherwise, they're going to go because they just, ugh. And they've been here ever since I moved in from the beginning. And they're never going to go away. And I don't get no love for putting up with them. I can't even open my damn door in the summertime. Either or, because they come in. And they go for the food cat bucket. At least if I leave it there, they pull it and they try and pull it to the front door. I hear it. But I can't put them in the bedroom. No way. Because you come down the hall, next thing you know it, you got a raccoon wanting to run past you. And God forbid if they bite you, right? That's not what you want. So either or, I put up with them. It's not their fault. Their habitats are being wiped out. All their trees, all the nut trees, everything are being wiped out. There's nothing for them to eat. You know, they're starving. They got these freaking garbage cans that they can't get nothing out of, and all the nut trees are being tore apart and tore up, and there's like they're yeah, it's not doing very good, these raccoons. I actually feel very sorry for them. It is a shame humans are not protected like raccoons are. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, yeah. Hell no. It's the Hunger Games with humans. You know, like seriously, I wasted a whole damn day because of a stroller, and I'm in panic mode because my landlord wants to come and micromanage my son busting up stairs when those stairs should have been busted up by her workers and removed on the day that they came here and did what they did, because she's got an ulterior motive to tell my son start busting up sheds that are going to make it so that the raccoons have more space for them to run around and shit in once the weeds start to grow and the mud starts to, because it's gonna turn into a mud pit, people. I'm telling you, I know this yard. And once it turns into a mud pit, that's where you get a bigger drainage problem. Mm-hmm. And that's not fair. And that's why I've got this social worker assigned to me. A special social worker, not the one that's the other one, but the different one, to help me to figure out what I can do to defend myself around this situation, because it's not a joke. If they don't got me working in the yard for their whatever, and then use the city as a means to justify scaring the pants off of me and keep me working like a damn slave. And if it's not going to be me now, it's going to be my grandson or my son, or I have to pay somebody like I did last year just to do things and pull Morning Glory and all that crap, right? Pulling Morning Glory is not routine yard maintenance. It's extreme when it's throughout the whole yard, especially if you make a venue for it to spread even faster. And threaten me with a lawyer yet. Yeah, okay. Well, make sure your lawyer brings in the sheriff. Because it might come down to that yet. Who cares? Are you swearing?
No.
Well, it sounded like maybe you did.
Damn.
Don't say that. I never run around saying damn.
Yeah, that was you.
It doesn't matter. A lot of people don't like that word, and you're just a kid.
Yeah, but I'm only saying online. Online.
It doesn't matter. Don't train yourself.
Say it online. I'm just say it out in public. I just say it online only.
Well, you don't need to, because then it becomes habitual. I know you care, Bailey. 2 words. It was blurry, but it didn't take much for my brain to figure out to see what you said there. Right? So, okay, so this was a very long live stream. Probably getting me into trouble with my landlords, I would think, because they're watching. Because they got to be one step ahead of the game. Because they're the victims. They're the ones that are getting Jewed out here. Because I don't pay market value on a local level in terms of rent. That's been manipulated through corporate corruption, whether it's private corporation in terms of like a single landlord as a homeowner renting out their unit, or a realtor company as a management to renting out apartments and whatever, or even like in the States, right? They have corporations that are buying up all the housing, family housing in the United States of America, and are basically locking out millions of people from affordable housing. Well, you've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of housing units sitting empty. Andre, be quiet, because it becomes a write-off for the corporation if they sit empty. Well, the number of homeless people are increasing in the United States of America. I think it's something like 40% of the housing stock in America is owned by corporations now. A lot of it being foreign investors. It's not 60%, it's 40%. Because, right? That's a lot. And more are losing. As a matter of fact, with the way the world is going right now, a lot of people in the United States are going into foreclosure even more now with those foreclosures because of the economy, right? Being bought up by corporations, a lot of them foreign investors, which is outpricing the rental market because there's an end game there, right? To depopulate, I guess, the United States of America of the American-born people. Just like in Canada, the Canadian-born people are being ousted out of Canada. Unless, of course, you fit with the cool crew or belong to the separatist group, depending on the separatist group, because there's more than one separatist group operating in Canada. Inflation is rampant here in the States, unfortunately. Just keep it real. Yeah, I watch a lot of videos in regards to what's going on with the food and, gas in the States. And yes, it is exactly the same. Yeah. So I don't know. The world is going nuts. I just wish my landlady could find some peace in her heart and just, I don't know, she doesn't got that many days left. She'll be lucky to live to 105 years old. But even if you live that long, miserable as all can be, terrorizing people just because you can, because you're standing at the top of the mountain and it makes you feel good. At the end of the day, I don't know. It's not any place I'd want to be. My grandma, I'm going to leave it on this note because, Mrs. Gill is always like reminded me of my grandma because she's, cute, right? My grandma was cute. She kind of looked like my grandma a little bit, And I don't know. Maybe I was missing my grandma. I don't know. Or maybe I just have respect for the elderly, right? And that's why I tried so hard to do what I did in the yard. Otherwise, if I didn't care, I would never even tried, and I sure in hell wouldn't have done it. But besides that point, when my grandmother died, she came and she got me, and I was sleeping, and she took me up to heaven, and she showed me her place and said, "This is where I am now. This is where I'm going to be, you know, but I'm not going to live with all my kids." And I said, "Oh, okay." And she said, "But you got to go now. You got to go back. I just wanted you to see where I'm going to be, and I'll see you again." So she sent me back, I guess, to Earth. I woke up in the morning and I got a phone call, and I was told that my grandmother died. So she came and got me. She did. And she took me up. And I seen her nice little place, right? She was happy with it. She didn't want to live with all her kids because clearly kids can be a problem. I wasn't allowed to stay because it wasn't my time. And she told me that I would see her again and that I had to go back. You have to go back. So I came back. I woke up. Andre, shut up. You know? And I know where she is. And the closer I get to death from stress, Andre, stop it. I'm almost done. The closer I get to death because of stress, wherever that stress is coming from, I'm thinking about her. And then, of course, I think about Mrs. Gill standing on that mountain with those F-me heels trying to keep me oppressed and down, but telling me I have to work harder and try harder to pull myself up as she's working to keep me down. Does she realize where she's going to end up when she dies? With that kind of aura? What do you think? You're going to live in a monster home and be happy? Okay. I don't like thoughts like that, people. I don't. It's not in my nature. But I'm not going to be a wuss either. If I can take my government to court, the Attorney General, the Public Safety Solicitor Attorney General, Fraser Health Authority, CIBC Bank, you don't think I can't take them to court and a temple? Please. And for what? A headache. So they can brag that they won. Well, the only reason you won is because you played dirty damn pool. If you ain't bribing somebody, you got somebody setting the stage to whatever to make the other opponent look bad. Because the board said so. But that's okay. I tried to be a good woman. I never went out of my way to hurt anybody. I gave years and years and years of community activism for all the right reasons in a dud province. Like dud, dead, dud. insufficient or whatever, just a dud, right? I was naive. I gave human beings too much credit. I didn't realize how corrupt people really were. But that's all water under the bridge now. So there you go. So now I have to wait for the axe to come down tomorrow, with my son turning into a gorilla pimp, saying that he's just doing what he's being told to do. And because she got away with it once before, she'll do it again. And I will have to pay for it. And it will still not be enough. And the yard will still be used against me because it's beyond routine maintenance. It is. In other words, well, I guess Andre and Mark Kane or somebody's, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The morning glory hasn't even started to grow yet. They want me to cut back weeds because they don't want the city to show up because it's too fucking green. Even though I got all that crap out in the front with beep beep this and honk honk that, right? And booming and banging and banging in the back and crashing and, you know, big mounds of this and big stacks of that and long pipes. Oh, that's all okay, but not if the, you know, things get green. Yeah, okay, whatever. Going around in circles. Anyway, now they have a reason to get mad at me even more. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that I've had all these years living here, but it's not been easy. It's been very frightening. It's very tiring. It's scary, right? I'm at the point where I'm at my wit's end with it, and I've been getting sick with it, and I'm completely scared as to what the hell's going to happen, as if I can afford to pay more money, right? And then who knows, it won't be enough because it will be something else, because I'll say, well, something needs to be fixed, and if you don't like it, you can move, and you don't pay enough rent, and just whatever. Like, fuck, man, I can't stand it anymore. It is after 10:30 here for me, so I have to try and get to bed. Much love to you and to Andre and Amari. Yeah, and this has been going on for quite a few hours here. I just seen here where, 2 hours and 32 minutes. What a long live stream just to bitch and complain for something that is just going to destroy me in the end anyway. That's it. I got nothing good to look forward to other than, I don't know. Anyway, okay, Bailey, goodbye. Thank you for coming in and spending time with me and chatting with me. I appreciate it. And I wish things could be happier for everybody. Keep those raccoons. I don't know what to say about raccoons. I got my issues with raccoons, but you know what though? Well, they're kind of domesticated, right? Definitely in the city. They really have no place to go, you know. Out in the country, well, they go with the path of least resistance in terms of food, right? But they definitely are dangerous for chickens. If you got chickens, oh my God, they love to attack chickens. Yeah. So it's hard to have chickens when there's raccoons around. So I hope you don't have a lot of chickens, or if you do, they're all penned up, because I know when I had Mr. Gill's chickens out there with Mr. Lace, they were killing the chickens, and they actually got Mr. Lace, but we rescued him. I had to run outside and scare the raccoon, and because Mr. Lace was protecting the hens, and the raccoon clawed into Mr. Lace, and right, and I ran down the steps and scared off the raccoon. And then we took Mr. Lace to Dr. Bath, who was a Punjabi with a turban on, but he was a nice Punjabi. And, and we loved Dr. Bath really because oh, and I remember too, at first I called Mr. Gill. Oh, it was funny. So funny. I called Mr. Gill. Mr. Gill, Mr. Gill. Oh, Mr. Lace got attacked by a raccoon. Oh no. Whoa, you need to come and help me. So he comes flying to the house. He drove as fast as he could to the house, right? To help me with Mr. Lace because he was all chewed up by the raccoon, eh? And he come into the house. He goes, well, let me see, right? And he pulls out from his jacket, eh? He pulls out what is it called? A cleaver to chop off his head. And I'm like, oh my God, no. You're not chopping off Mr. Lace's head. That's not what I wanted you to do, Mr. Gill. He goes, oh, well, just in case, let me look at him. So because he could handle him, right? And, he loved birds, right? So he manhandled Mr. Lace and, looked at his feathers. And I mean, if we needed to, he would have put him out of his misery. But after he did a little, whatever, he said, oh, well, just take some turmeric and put the turmeric under the feathers and stuff because his neck was all chewed up and shit, right? Because the raccoon, that's what they like, eh? And then, maybe take him to the vet, right? Because I said, well, I have a vet that maybe can help, right? He goes, yeah, that would be a good idea. But for the night, just put him in the bathtub and put some turmeric on him and keep him quiet and calm. And, so I phoned up Dr. Bath the next day and I took him to Dr. Bath, and I have a video with him with Shimei, and he gave him antibiotics and stuff. But yeah, no, raccoons are like, I feel sorry for you on the farm with raccoons with chickens because they're so fast and they eat all they leave behind after they catch a bird and they eat it. They just leave the feathers. They eat everything. And then you got the rats you have to worry about too, right? Because the big rats like to grab onto their necks and suck the blood out of them. Because in Mr. Lace's cat house there, when I had the hens in there, and it was all screened off. I screened it off and everything, but the rat came in through the ground and somehow chewed through the wire because I even screened off on the under the pen. I had chicken wire, and then I put dirt on top. And it was all seamed in and everything, so nothing could technically get in. But somehow the bugger rat, he crawled in through the bottom and he got in. Eventually, he got in, and he got a hold of one of the birds on the inside and sucked the blood out of it. So when I came out in the morning, there was a dead bird on the ground with chewed up neck because of a rat. So rats and raccoons are really bad for chickens, for sure. Yeah. Alrighty, out. Peace out.